Okay, what I'm going to show today is my conversion of the 50 quart mash tun I bought. I got this around Christmas time on clearance for $29.99, so I couldn't pass it up with free shipping. And I mean, you can see I already have a 5-gallon there that I use, but I really wanted to upgrade just so when I mash in, I can use a little more water and stuff. Because when I got 12 pounds or so of grain in my 5-gallon, I can rarely get more than 3 to 3.5 gallons of water in there. So I'm going to go ahead and show the conversion of this, and some things you're going to need. If you look inside here, what I did is I just simply unscrewed what was in here and just pulled it out. There's still this little rubber seal here, and then I just bought a T. So, you can see on both sides. And let me show you the back of this quickly. So the back of it, I just ran the T right out the back. And the inside's got a pretty good seal already, so I'm going to test this without adding an additional washer on it. So now the next thing I did, let me show you guys, is I had a stainless steel water line. I actually had this from an old dishwasher. And I cut the ends off it, as you guys have seen in a lot of mash tuns. And then I pulled this inside out. So this was basically the innards that were in it. So these are just going to get tossed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple hose barbs in here. Run this in here in the hose barb and run this into the other hose barb. So it's going to kind of look like that when I'm done. So let me go ahead and grab the hose barbs, and I'm going to show you guys what this is going to look like. Alright, so here's the general idea. I mean, I still got to slide these on more, and then I'll add some stainless steel hose clamps too. So, and I really had a hard time. I really wanted to go with a 1/2-inch inner diameter stainless steel hose, but I had a really hard time finding one this long, and I already had the 3/8 one. So what I'm doing is just kind of stretching these out a little bit, and I didn't want to go with 3/8 barbs because I have that in my 5-gallon mash tun, and I'm just thinking this 1/2-inch may help with the flow a little bit better when I'm vorloffing and those type of things. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some pipe thread on these, get the washers, and get this tightened down a little bit more, and then I'll show you the outside. Okay, so what I did was, I just took some pipe tape. That stuff's real cheap at the hardware store. I wrapped that around the barbs, tighten them down, and then, very important, put your hose clamps on before you put it on. And then I kind of wiggled these guys on. It's real easy if you're using 3/8 barbs, a lot harder if you're using 1/2-inch, but wiggled these on as far up as I could get them, and then I tightened down the hose clamps around the end. So there you can see it though. This is definitely a lot different design. So okay, like I was saying, this is definitely a different design than I have in my 5-gallon, but I'm really hoping, like I said, maybe vorloffing will go a little easier having the two sides, and then ultimately when I'm draining it. So I just want to make sure I have plenty of flow and everything. And so at this point, the inside's done. There's nothing more to it. And another good trick to do, if you can do it, is, I didn't do it around this time, but if you can find some stainless steel wire, you can kind of wrap that around a pipe or a pencil or something. You could run that all the way through here too, just to help with the collapsing a little bit, but this stuff is actually pretty strong. I haven't had any problems at all in my 5-gallon cooler. Alright, so inside is done. Let's switch to the back side. So, alright, and the thing about this cooler, which is different than other coolers, is you can't put a huge valve on here because this is pointing down. And if you did that, this for sure would hit the ground. So what I did was, I also bought a half-inch barb, you know, with a half-inch end and then some half-inch inner diameter hose to go on here. So basically this just screws right on, and I'll show that to you guys in a minute. The other thing I did is I had to order this off the internet, though. Maybe you guys can find it in your hardware store, and this is just a shut-off valve for the tubing. So I just threaded two sides into it, and I'll show you guys in a few minutes, but this is real easy to operate too. You can just do it with your thumb. So, especially when the hose is secure and everything. And then on this other end, you know, I just got a bunch of hose right now. I just got to figure out what length I want to cut this to. So, but let me go ahead and get this hooked up, and then we'll be able to see the final product and then give this thing a test to see if it leaks. Okay, I went ahead and pulled this whole thing out of the cooler just to recap this a little bit. And I hadn't shown you this T before. You know, this is basically a half-inch T with a half-inch coupler. The other thing I decided to do, because when I kind of test fit this, I figured this would be a good idea. I went and bought this O-ring. It's kind of a faucet O-ring, number 16. There you go. And so I'm going to go ahead and slide that on here, and then that'll be on the inside just to help it seal a little bit. I just felt like when I was doing it, I wasn't sure if it was going to seal quite well enough. So I'll go ahead and put these down. And I went ahead and popped the lid off too, just to make things easier. And for now, this is where I've been storing all my tools for this job, just to make things a little easier. Go ahead and clean all this out right now. And like I said, this guy already has this kind of seal here that you can see. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in. It might not even be a bad idea to add a little more sealant to this, to seal it down a little bit better, but I'm not too worried about that right now once it's all clamped down. And then I'll take this guy, put it back in here, and like I said, it's a really tight fit, so you really got to wiggle this guy through. Actually, the more I think about this, it may be easier. Let me cut away a second. I think it's going to be easier if I just go ahead and slide this thing on the coupler and then insert the whole thing. Alright, so here's this side now. So I still got to get this thing pushed in better, and I think once the whole thing tightens up, it'll probably get better. But you got the cooler seal there, and then I've got that extra washer now to help seal it. The other thing I was going to show you guys is I went to Lowe's and I picked up these washers for the outside. These are 7/8. So you'll see these, these fit around here pretty well. I still got to push this through a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and lightly attach the hose barb and then kind of show you guys the setup here on the outside. Okay, so this is down here. The lighting's not so great right now. Maybe I can push this in a little better light. So this is on here pretty good. It's still twist a little bit, but it's definitely sealed pretty good. You guys can see that. And then on this other side, I went ahead and used one big washer, and then I used just one of those 7/8 washers I showed you guys about, and I snugged this down pretty tight. So I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to take this hose, slide it back on here, nice and far. It probably wouldn't even hurt to do a. It probably wouldn't hurt even to do a hose clamp here, a hose clamp here, and a hose clamp here. But I think it's going to be fine. So I think at this point I could take it upstairs and we could do a leak test on it. Okay, so you can see I dumped a pretty good amount of water in there. So it's been sitting like this for a couple of minutes. If I look down here, so far so good. I don't see any water at all right now leaking out of here. So, and like I said, so there's a decent amount of water in here too. So let's see how this flow works. I got a ton of hose here right now. So, but I'm not going to cut it just yet. So let's go ahead and give this a turn. Alright, there you can see the flow's going. Let's see if I can find the end here. So you can see there's pretty good flow out of here. That is a ton of hose coming through too. So I'm not surprised the pressure isn't huge. If I open this up, I'm sure it would come out faster. So there it is draining. So again, if I look here, definitely don't see any leaking. Let me pull this over a little bit more so we can see it better. No, to me this looks pretty clear. And then you can see in just a not very long at all. I mean, if you're, of course, I wouldn't Vorloff it with that far open, but you can see it's definitely draining pretty fast here. Then we can just take this guy. It's so much harder to do one-handed. Hold on. Huh, it would help if I was doing it the right way. And there you go. Now it's shut off. Back on. Back off. So now all I really got to do is, and who knows, maybe I'll even wait till closer to brew day to figure out exactly how far I want to cut this hose. But there you go, there's my MashTun setup. So just an easy shut-off valve hooked up on the outside to a barb. On the inside, you just got a T, with a coupler hooked up to it, and then a couple barbs on each side, and stainless steel wire. It's not too bad at all. So one last check, and I think we're good. And I think that we'll call that good for my MashTun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll flip over to a quick recap, and then we'll call this one good. Okay, there you guys have it. So that was my 50 quart MashTun conversion. Not too complicated. Like I said, there's just, you got a 1/2 inch T into a 1/2 inch coupler to a 1/2 inch barb, 1/2 inch barbs on the inside, just some braided stainless steel hose, and then just vinyl hose on the outside with a shutoff valve. So not overly complicated, pretty easy. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave comments on my page. And hopefully I've got a IPA that I'm going to be brewing up soon, so I'm going to test it with that. So hope you guys enjoyed that, like I said, and I'm out. Cheers.